Welcome back to another episode of Finchy Fridays. So my very last wedding last year, back in November, I filmed the whole day with a broken lens. And it was actually my second to last wedding when it actually broke on me, and I ended up filming the rest of the day on the broken lens. Welcome to my channel. If you're new here, I basically talk about all things related to wedding videography and video production in general. So if you haven't already, please like and subscribe to my channel. So my next two videos will be discussing what I actually talk about with my wedding clients when I meet them to just run through the final timings of the day and what my next camera purchase might be. So back to today's video. I filmed my last wedding with a complete broken lens, and this actually happened to me on my second to last wedding. And I just didn't have time to fix it. And I actually did my Christmas photo shoots with the broken lens as well, and a little video production job. So let me tell you sort of what was going wrong with my lens. It's not this lens. It's my go-to, it's my absolute favorite lens. It's my EF 24 to 70mm USM II, I think the 2.8. It's just my favorite lens. For me, it just does everything I need it to do. So when using my C200, which I'm using now, the problem I was getting when I was going up the f-stops, so 2.8, and then go 4, 5.6, all the way up. If I brought it back down, it just was not changing whatsoever. I had to turn off the camera, turn it back on, and then it would be back to like 2.8. The problem with this was this camera. I don't know if anyone uses a C200, C300, maybe even the C70, but when you turn it on and off, it takes a good minute to start back up. So when I first started noticing, I was on the couple's photo shoots, and I went up the f-stops, went to bring it back down, and it just was not working. So I had to keep turning it on and off. Not ideal whatsoever. And this wedding was also in November, bit dark, so usually having sort of the 2.8 is really handy. But also it was messing with my ISO settings as well. So I'd be adjusting the f-stop, then adjusting the ISO, and it was just, when it's happening on the day, you're trying to adapt to the wedding scenario. It just wasn't ideal. But I got through the wedding. But the annoying thing was that I had another wedding coming up like a week later. So I do have two cameras, two lenses. So knowing my sort of options and what was going wrong with it, I pretty much shot my whole wedding at 2.8 f-stop, which I do that a lot throughout the whole wedding day. But when it comes to the ceremony, especially when the bride and sort of the bridesmaids are walking down the aisle, I'm usually at a lot higher f-stop, which I have done a video previously about, just because it gives, you haven't got that shallow depth of field. It just gives a bit more leeway in keeping sort of them in focus. The other video does explain it, but that's what I usually like to do. So I had a few problems. I had to film it at 2.8. It actually worked out very well, and I was actually really pleased with the whole outcome, but a little bit stressful when it came to that. And then when I was doing my Christmas photo shoots, basically if I was shooting just a single child, not actually shooting, but with the camera, if I was taking a photo of a single child, I always had my f-stop at about 2.8. But if there was a group shot with siblings, then I would increase the, that's me using the little wheel on my camera, increase the f-stop to a slightly higher stop so that everyone was in focus. Now, as soon as I went click, I would get the error message. I think it was like error 001, and that was the error message. So luckily I had my other lens, which I'm using now, for the group shots, but again, it just wasn't ideal. And I also had a video production job not far from me in Swansea, where I had half days filming for something in like a warehouse. And then I've actually got the filming coming up soon, which is at a actual builder's housing development, which they said they wanted it in like literally a couple of days later after the warehouse stuff, but they because of flood, because of the wet weather, it got postponed and they wanted it early January, which led me not to get the lens fixed straight away, because I was like, I've got this bit of filming coming up. I don't know how long it's going to take to get it repaired. I don't know how to get it repaired, but because I know I can just get through the day, I'll just go with it. I've also got a great client now that I do regular work with. So then January came along. I was like, I've got to go back into them soon. I haven't heard from this housing development one just yet. So I sent them an email, but because it was sort of like into the new year, I didn't hear anything back for a few days. So I just took the gamble of getting it repaired by the Canon repair service. Now, there's loads of other lens repair services out there, but I thought it's my favourite lens, it's my go-to lens. Let's just get it repaired with Canon. If you want to know how to actually get your lens repaired, you can either just Google Canon repair service or go to this website address, literally go down, and then you just hit arrange a repair. And you come onto this screen and you just put in your product name. So put in my favorite lens, hit next, you go down to technical support, select a topic. So because I was getting the error messages, I went that one, and I literally just put in what was happening, error 01, that was the message I was getting. And then it came up to this screen, and I was like, okay, let's chat with an expert. So I went through the whole chat process, and they'd send you an email as well, sort of just reviewing what you said. And what was a bit confusing is I knew the problem, and basically it needed a new, I think it's called an Aperture Flux, where you can get it's actually quite a cheap part to get, but it meant literally taking your whole lens apart. And I just did not feel comfortable doing that. So I knew the problem, chatted with the experts, and they arranged to, also you go in like an email loop then, and you arrange your repair. But I got stuck in a bit of a loophole because I was chatting to someone, and then I did give it about a week before I sort of brought it back up to get repaired, because again I was worried. I was thinking about this filming that was coming up. Should I do it or not? So anyway, I emailed the person who I was originally speaking to and arranged for their quick turnaround service. So I had to pay a little bit extra for that, but I thought that was worth it because they get it ready. They get it to you finished within basically within a week, rather than, I think the turnaround was like a month or something. I was like, no way can I be a month without my favourite lens. So I arranged that. Then they said replied with an email saying, just to confirm a few things, I had to set a repair limit. So I sent them that, had to agree to their services. And then all of a sudden, I sent that off. They said, you'll hear back within a couple of days from someone. A couple of days went past. So I emailed them again. And then they emailed saying, go to this link that I just been through with you to arrange the service. So I went through it, did all the problems again, and it came back to this screen. So I emailed them saying, hang on a minute, I'm back on this screen. I'm just getting stuck in this loop. Anyway, they told me to select the category, but instead of error message, say product is not working, and then button control, ring not working. When does it occur? Always, and then none, and then hit next, and then you get to the service request form. But as soon as that went through, they emailed me literally a UPS delivery, which I thought I'd have to pay for on top. But I went to the drop-off centre, dropped it off. They're like, thank you. It's like, oh, no payment necessary. Nope. And then the longest part was the UPS. It actually took a couple of days for UPS to get it to Canon. And in the UK, their repair centre is, I think, it's around Watford area. So not far from where I used to live. But anyway, they received it after a couple of days. I then received an email from Canon saying a technician is working on it. And this was a Friday afternoon. Friday afternoon, the technician is working on your camera. And then, literally 2 hours later, I got an email saying they've repaired it. It's back in the post, expect it next week. So I was like, sweet. That was a lot quicker than I thought. Still had no idea how much I was going to pay because I think I put a repair limit of around £250. So I'll show you the invoice now of how much I actually paid for the Canon repair service. So if we have a look at the receipt here, I paid £86 for labour. The part only cost £29.52, which I knew that. I knew I could get something off eBay. You know, I'm looking at parts that like people buy off eBay. Didn't know if it was the right one. I was thinking of doing it myself. But what I did read is it can take about 6 to 8 hours of taking your whole lens apart, making sure you're dust free, having the right tools and replacing the part. So for me, paying someone £86, which I thought was going to be even more than that as well, personally. And then I also paid the £37.50 express fee, which if you're busy, you've got lots of weddings or other video production projects coming up, definitely worth paying that. So in total, it was about £183.62, which I was really happy. I was really pleased with. So would I recommend the Canon repair service? Yes. It was a bit annoying at first when I was sort of stuck in that loop of actually trying to get it repaired. But once I was through that, I was really pleased with the service and was quite surprised with the price as well, to be honest. So if you've enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.